Hi, this is Rob O'Byrne from Logistics Bureau, and with me today I've got Mal Walker, who's one of our warehousing specialists. And Mal was just telling me he's spent 35 years designing warehouses and improving warehouse operations. Mal, you must be an absolute ball at barbecues.
Well, you know, logistics is a really exciting topic, and warehouses top the cake.
Yeah. I should say he is actually quite an interesting individual because he plays drums in a band. But
that's even more interesting.
It is a lot more interesting than warehouses. But we're here to talk about warehouses. And I wanted to talk to you about the design sequence of a warehouse. So let me put this in context. At Logistics Bureau, we've been designing warehouses and improving warehouse operations for 20 years. You've been doing it for 35. You've worked as a consultant. You've worked as a solution designer for 3PLs, for materials handling companies, and so on. What I've found over the years is that very often people come to us too far down the path of the new warehouse being designed. So let me put that simply. Company A will come along to us and say, we need your help to design a warehouse. And we'll say, no problem. And they either say, we've already bought the land, it's over here. And we go, oh, how did you know how big the warehouse was going to be? Or even worse, they say, we've already bought or rented the warehouse, without even considering the operation that's going to happen inside the warehouse. That's totally the wrong way, isn't it?
Alas, it is. Yeah. And by far the best way to start is to look at the logistics that you're planning to put into that warehouse and design from the inside out. So therefore, plan out what you're trying to do logistically, and then you can specify what size the warehouse should be.
That makes sense. So I think if someone is planning to adopt a new facility, you don't adopt warehouses, but buy them, design them, you've really got to look at the internal operation first so that you know the footprint and hence the land.
Exactly,
size.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can remember being involved in a project some years ago where people actually got that sequence wrong, and they had bought the land, they'd actually got developers in to start building the warehouse, and you didn't design this one, it was one of our other specialists, but he designed the whole materials handling and storage solution, and it actually occupied one half of the building that they were constructing. And it was kind of, oops. They had basically designed and built a building that was double the required size, so they had to find something to do with the rest of it. So getting that sequence right is really important. So I guess what you're saying is, as soon as people think they're going to need a new facility, start working on how it's going to operate inside the box.
Yeah, that's correct. And one of the key things there, Rob, is to determine what the objective is for the facility. What are they going to use it for? Yeah. What are they holding? What's moving through that facility? And then to start the design process from there.
And I know when you're designing them, you come up with an ideal design, and I know from listening to all your lectures that it's not a square building generally, it's a rectangle. I forget the ratios, but and also the externals, so you have to think about the sort of vehicles that are coming in and out, and all of that really is going to dictate not how much warehouse footprint or how much land you need, but the shape of it as well. And sadly, a lot of companies come to us a little bit late, and we have to work with what they've got in terms of the building or the land shape. But you can do a lot with that even then, can't you?
Oh yes, yes you can. So if they do have a building, then the building becomes a constraint in the design process. So once I've determined what the objectives are for the facility, we can look at the volumes and the movements and the amount of goods to be stored, and we can start to frame up a design within that particular building that they've selected.
Yeah, because I mean it's going to happen sometimes that people can't just start with a clean sheet of paper. So what sort of compromises do you find yourself putting in when that happens?
Well, it's not so much the compromises. It's really designing a custom operation for.
But if it's not the ideal footprint and dimension, I mean, it's going to be less efficient, surely.
It may represent. It may end up being less efficient than if I started.
It'll be like a best case scenario with what they've got.
That's correct.
Okay. So I think, I mean, this is such an important topic. We've run seminars and webinars on this before. We haven't done one for a while. Maybe we should do another one.
Can do.
We'll look at the diary and we'll put some details below. We might do a webinar and a seminar if you find some of this interesting, and it'll help you I guess, overcome some of the challenges and some of the traps that you can fall into in selecting new warehouses and sizing and so on.
Be happy to. Yes.
Great. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you.